Well, hello, and welcome to Stop, Let's Team Up, Those Daring Defenders, episode 33. I am joined again by Billie. But I'm joined again by Billie from World on Fire. I remembered it this time, and Magazines and Monsters, and we're going to cover the second half of the Defenders, Guardians of the Galaxy team up. How you doing, Billie?
Oh, I am fantastic, man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to talk about these. Because we split it up, it gave me a reason to read the whole story again, which was good. But this is such a good era of Defenders. So.
Oh yeah, Gerber Defenders is great.
Oh my, yeah. I think it's really good until about New Defenders, and then it's. I don't think I've ever read all that. I will do that. Good thing about that, like the app and because I will probably get all. If they do all the Defenders in Omni, that's how I'm going to collect it. Because it's a book that I'm enjoying doing these reread in like batches. But where we left off was the Guardians of the Galaxy and the Defenders have traveled back in time in the Captain America, their spaceship, to battle the Badoon. So we're going to start with Defenders 27. Let's talk about this cover first, because this is a cover. I thought when I was reading this, I went, this is a Billie cover, because it looks like a Bronze Age Marvel horror comic. It does not look like we're doing a science fiction story. To me, it looks more like a horror comic. But this is by Gil Kane, John Romita, and Gaspar Saladino. So I guess Romita's doing the Hulk.
Oh, for sure, the faces, yeah.
Yeah. Is he doing all the faces or just the Hulk's face?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Hulk and Val look more like him to me for sure. But yeah, what a horror cover this is. I love it with the creepy Badoon, and they're coming out of the swamp here.
Yeah, the female Badoons are hairy lizard people that live in a swamp.
They're great.
I was like, Steve, man, did your wife talk to you after writing this, man? Because this is pretty... I think it's supposed to be comedically sexist, or it's supposed to be... I don't know how to describe Steve Gerber's sense of humor and political satire. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot there's a lot of his ideas. You know what he believed in, or how he viewed society in his comics, especially his Defenders. And it gets and it snowballs, because the next story is the Headmen.
Oh yeah.
And
that's crazy.
Which is great. But I love it. I think it's great. It's just so different than all the other covers in the run for this story arc. Other than Elar, the silliest Marvel bad guy ever. But I like it. It's a good cover. I like this. This is right when I was a little kid, and my brother he would hand me stacks of like 20 or 30 comics. I'd have he'd have 2 or 3 months worth, because he was a teenager. He was out of the house by now, and he delivered candy to movie theaters. So
that's wild.
He would come home with these giant bags of gummy bears. And this is when they would scoop candy at a movie theater, at some movie theaters in D.C. So I think he was probably hawking bags off the truck. But it was cool. So he'd bring me gummy bears and comics, and this is that era. I just love this era of the Marvel covers with the banner and the the picture. It's not like I'm reading in FF where it's that box inside the cover. But I love it. I love it. The cover has something to do about what's in the comic, which modern comics nothing on the cover tells you what's happening in it.
No.
For the most part, and it's just great. And the little faces inside, and how the Defenders had the 3 bubbles for theirs. I love this cover. And so when was this one? This was published June 19th, 1975. Okay, I'm like 9 years old when this came out. I'm 10, almost 11. And I love this. Cover dated September 1975. Writer Steve Gerber, penciler Sal Buscema, inker Vinnie Colletta. We'll talk about that. Colorist Al Wenzel, who would later draw the Avengers during the Korvac saga. Letterer Joe Rosen, and editor Len Wein, one of the greats. The lineup, the Defenders lineup for this story is Doctor Strange, Hulk, Valkyrie, Nighthawk, that's pretty much a set lineup for the next year, for another about year and a half. Then Guardians, Vance Astros, Charlie 27, Martin X, and first appearance of Starhawk. Is there a synopsis? Marvel Wiki is off. Do we have a synopsis? Ooh, they do. A short one. Good. So I'll do this real quick. While preparing to send a landing party, very Star Trek, to the Earth to fight the Badoon, the teleportation device is interfered with and sending Valkyrie, Vance, Astro, Hulk, and Yondu to different locations. Valkyrie and Vance end on a world ruled by the female gender of the Badoon race. They are attacked by a group of them, and although Val is seriously injured, they fight off their attackers and are saved by a mysterious glowing entity. The Hulk and Yondu are taken to a world ruled by Guzat and taken prisoner after an altercation with the planet's robot defenders. While back aboard the Captain America, Doctor Strange and Martinique use the combination of science and magic to destroy the Brood's probe, prompting them to launch an attack. While on the female Brood War, the mysterious figure revealing itself as Stark uses his powers to heal Valkyrie of her injuries, while Hulk and Yondu are sentenced by Guzet to compete in its planet's gladiatorial games and back aboard the Captain America. The remaining Defenders and Guardians are called to arms when the ship is invaded by a Badoon army. It is that kind of weird of a comic. So let's get to the splash page. We got a banner which reads, Planet Earth, 3115 AD. Most of humankind are dead, and those who live, brother. Oh man, I'm wearing the wrong glasses, folks. Most of the humans are dead, and those who live as slave of Earth's conquerors, the baneful Badoon. Yet small though its numbers may be, humanity's longing for freedom has not perished, and at the vanguard of a man's struggle to stand the interplanetary guerrilla band known as the Guardians of the Galaxy. And the title is Three Worlds to Conquer. I love this splash page. I like it. It's Badoon being creepy monsters, doing dramatic hand gestures. You could see the Star Trek knockoff ship, the Captain America. What do you think of this page?
Yeah, like you said it best. Star Trek is right. I mean, Three Worlds to Conquer sounds like a Star Trek title.
Oh yeah.
The ship looks like the Enterprise. There's alien lizard people here. This is great. This is right out of a Star Trek episode.
And the art, so it's Sal. One good thing about Marvel Bronze Age, you're not going to go that many issues without seeing Sal draw something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and this is kind of the house style. It's just really good. I want to say this. I normally complain about Vince Colletta inks.
Mm-hmm.
He does a really good job on this comic.
Yeah, this is a good issue.
Maybe he was afraid of erasing stuff, or Sal drew. You know what I mean? Because this
I
is
thought Sal would beat him up or something.
Yeah, everything's full. It looks great. It's such good art, and it's a splash page. It's just two bad guys making hand gestures, screaming things. Like bad guys do, like the leader wearing his red crown and cape, saying "Ilmasul, call them back to him at once." It's just, it's great. I love it. So on the next page we get a nice double page. Well, it was on. Yeah, I guess it was in the app they divide it.
Yeah, in the book it's cool. It looks good. It's like a 2/3 splash double page where there's 4 panels going across the top, and then the bottom 2 panels that are like on the opposing pages there. It's basically one image. It looks fantastic.
It does. It's great. I don't understand in Marvel Comics because I was reading something else. It was a DC comic recently, a recent run of Suicide Squad, where you had to climb into a tube to teleport.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wow.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, it does.
Great image.
It is, and you got the bad guys more screaming, hand gesturing, threatening, very, very signature Sal Buscema poses. But it's just great. It's all the characters look interesting. I forgot Jack Norris is here.
Oh yeah, well, don't forget about him.
Jesus, man. I listened to Tighten Up the Defense, and Hub and Corey are very Uh, great, and they really do beat up on Jack just not getting a clue. Like last time we were talking, he's kissing this woman. Your wife is dead and in hell. Why would you want her back? And that's not her body. Stop groping her. But yeah, he's there. And then we just get to see they beam him, and the Badoon interfere with it, and everybody gets split up. And that's when Jack comes in screaming, "Where's my wife?" We'll find out. Stephen is very pointed. Stephen Strange is very pointed to Jack about his obsession with his wife. He basically is just shut up later. But I like.
Yeah, we don't have time for your crap.
Yeah, it's so silly. So we jump to where Valkyrie and Vance are in a red. They're on a female brooding world, and I'm kind of hoping that the water is red isn't symbolic of anything.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks kind of gross.
It is. It's like they're neat even, and you see one of the creatures. It looks like a Morlock from, like, say, some movie version of World of Worlds. Not World of Worlds. The Time Machine. Time Machine.
Time Machine. Yeah.
And then we get 2 pages of, and if Sal is great at one thing, it's fight scenes. We get
action.
A couple pages of fighting. Val just. They let Val shine. Vance gets some stuff, but it's mostly Val. I like it. So what do you think of this sequence, this fight sequence?
Oh, I love it, especially that first page there. 3 of these Badoon vampire reptile women are grabbing Vance Astro, and one looks like it's about to vampire bite him here. It's really, really good image.
Yeah, these female, the green hair creatures, they're pretty good. I mean, folks, nowadays these things would have like armor, and it would be all this detail. But, they would just create an archetype for an alien body and goes, I just got to grow 4 of the same thing in different faces.
And when I first read this, though, too, I kind of felt like Gerber was not giving Val much agency here, because she actually, kind of gets taken out here. But there's something going on behind the scenes here. Like, she kills or stabs one of the Badoon creatures, and then she's like doubles over in pain. So she didn't really get defeated by these
This is where they're
creatures.
finding out she's using Fang, and if she kills somebody, it hurts her. She can't. She has to use the flat of the blade. I forgot all about that.
Yep. So, because when I first kind of just glossed over it, I'm like, man, Gerber really has Val being like a wuss here, but that's not what's going on.
No, I get that now, and it's folks. I love a Bronze Age comic, especially when they started to do these stories that continued over. Something like that, something that minor would be referenced, and then you wouldn't know anything for 2 or 3 issues. I love it. I love that. Continuity's king. But yeah,
and back on the ship too.
Yeah,
I love that scene too. On the back, Norris is flipping out, and the doc just zaps the crap out of him. I love it. Norris is like, I'm going to show you how to be a hero, and he picks up a wrench, like, I'll show you what to do. And enough, Mr. Norris. We shall have no violence here. Is that clear? Zap, and he's like frozen.
And then he's like, he's just Steven's not having his duty. Then they have to we cut to Londo and the Hulk end up on a planet of drunk humans, and they're both like, what? One's a cranky monster, and the other's a warrior.
This is great. People just partying, drunk, going ape. It's great.
The woman in the bottom corner is like, she's so drunk, she's pouring her drink, and it's just hitting her chin and going down. There's a guy asleep in the. There are multiple people passed out in the street. It's like a frat party.
It is. Yeah, a guy hanging out a window, like halfway out a window there at the top.
Oh yeah, one guy's sleeping in an awning like it's a hammock, and Londo's going revolting, grogged out of their minds, all of them. I love that, grogged out of their minds.
It's a guy passed out in the street, face down, like it just totally passed out with a bottle right next to him.
Oh my god.
And the Hulk's face is like, what is going on here?
So people keep coming up, and they're speaking gibberish. They can't understand them. Hulk's going, man doesn't talk right. Nothing is right here. People laugh, dance, sing, but people look stupid, not happy. You sense it too. The sadness in the air, the odor of death. So someone screams, and Hulk just bashes somebody who's in his way, and you see him flying head first. You just see his legs in the air as they run. And they find these bad guys messing with a woman, and she slaps Yondu for saving him. Like,
yeah, they really sexy drawing there by Sal too of this lady. But yeah, Yondu does his trick with his arrow, whistles, and it goes.
I
flying
forgot
around
this
and
was
knocks the
something
swords.
that Yondu did. That they have him do.
Yeah.
They have Michael Rooker doing the movie, because Michael
straight out of
Rooker
the
version
comics.
very different. I like his version, but very different.
Yeah, for sure.
But then we find out this planet is ruled by robots.
Yeah.
I love Sal robots. I love Sal's robots. The big heads are all.
They're really creepy.
Yeah, when the mommy one, 'cause you kill my babies.
This giant robot that's like 20 feet tall.
And so, like when the robot said, "You kill my babies," and by so doing, you have sealed your fate. You're adjudicated guilty and hereby placed in thrall. And they hypnotize him. And then Martinix is plugging. He's jump starting the spaceship with Steven.
Yeah,
Literally, he's not that Steven's assisting, but the jumper cables are on Steven's head. And they jump it so they can find. The result of fusion of mysticism, technology, a sorcerer who can process and elevate data, and data input with machine precision, split-second rapidity, and a computer that is one with the universe. Together they reach out, and all it does is it blows up at Badoon headquarters.
Like a feedback thing, because they were monkeying with it. Yeah.
Fine. Now they're going to search them down. So we see this being of light, come out and heal Val, and we get our first appearance of Starhawk, who will be a huge part of Guardian of the Galaxy. Bronze and early modern age. Guardians. Yeah. The original Guardians don't pop up that often anymore, which I find sad. You could have both. But Starhawk he's the Mr. Spock of the Guardians.
He is, yeah. Great image of Doctor Strange there, where it's just his head and his hands.
Oh, yeah.
Really cool image.
I liked it when Sal did Doctor Strange. Did he ever do runs? Did he ever do some Doctor Strange single issues or anything in his own title?
Not the Bronze Age stuff. No, he never did. May have inked somewhere, but he was never the penciler. No.
Oh, that's a waste.
Yep. Maybe in that Roy Thomas 1980s series he may have, because he was still bouncing around, you figure, at that point. And then he did the Spectacular Spider-Man stuff with Conway, but no, not that Bronze Age. He never did. It's like I said, it's a shame.
That's weird. That's, I like his run on Hulk. Is that in the 80s and 90s?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, mid-80s.
That was a really good run. So... and I do like this costume design. I don't know if Sal did the design. A lot of times it was Romita was doing them in the background.
Yeah.
But it's good. I like that. We get him. Oh, then we cut to the robot brings the Hulk and Yondu before of King Guznak. But these people speak English. Oh, he's an ally of the Badoon. He's a pretty bad guy. Oh, so we cut back to the spaceship, and something beeps off. There's an intruder alert. The Badoon and their they're Robo-Men, or guess, I don't remember what they were called. They look like a Doctor Who monster called the Robo-Men. And they've invaded the ship. And there's cliffhanger. I like that issue. It's very much one of those Bronze Age. If you were reading Marvel comics in the 70s, early 70s and stuff like that, late 60s maybe, continuity was king. Things would go over. Stan was like, Bill, I want regular readers not to just buy random comics off the rack. I want someone who bought Defenders 32 to want to have to go look for 33 somewhere.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think that's a good thing, and this one is good. You got plot device, you got movement. I don't think it's as good as the last issue in some ways, but I think it works. I think it's a really it was fun when it needed to be funny, and and the action was good. More so but it's such good Gerber. It's like he's a good mix of comedy and action.
Yeah, great issue for action. You had some sci-fi elements, action, superhero, horror even, and then a brand new character. It was fantastic.
Yeah. Well, let's jump.
Love it.
Yeah, let's jump into 28, which is published July 15th, 1975, cover dated October 1975. Another great. This one's a Ron Wilson, Frank Giacomo, and Danny Crispy cover. But it's a good one, man. It's got enter Starhawk. He's getting the banner and he's flying across. And you got 4 vignettes of Iron Man, Doc Strange, Nighthawk, and Valkyrie battling badoons or spaceships or robots. I really like this. I didn't realize it was Ron Wilson. I thought it was Sal. And just a Rush comic. No, that's really good. They don't let Sal do covers really that often, do they?
Yeah, he's a lot of interiors and not a ton of covers if you think about it, yeah.
Yeah. Ron Friends makes a living.
But it's a good cover, yeah. I mean, there's kind of it's interesting though how they use like out of vignettes. It's like one of them's something that happened in the past with Valkyrie and the Badoon women. They're like that's already over. So I wasn't sure why they chose to do that. And then we don't know what's going on with Nighthawk here, or the Doc, and then of course the Hulk. That's what we ended with, a bit of a, the robots and the Hulk and Yondu.
Yeah. But it's a good cover. I love this era. I think these aren't great artistic covers, but I want a cover to tell me what's going on in the story in some way. So
yeah, I mean, I think Ron Wilson was pretty young in the business at this point, and that's for like an early effort, I think it's pretty good. It's not as detailed and good as like somebody like Gil Kane, but he had been at it for 30 years, so I think it's pretty good.
Wilson did a lot of covers you may not know are his because he would be with a different inker and stuff like that, and really like the famous one that the new Captain America movie where Red Hulk is punching the shield.
Yeah,
that is based on a Captain America. Ron Wilson with Bob Layton inks.
That's a good cover.
It's an iconic cover. So, and I really like Ron Wilson, especially later in his run on 2-in-1.
I think wasn't he the artist on that Thing solo series?
Yeah. What it is
he was.
He was like him and Sal and a couple other people were the regular artists on 2-in-1, and then he was gone for a bit, and it was Byrne and Perez because the second Project Pegasus story, that 6-parter, is the first 3 issues are Byrne and the next 3 issues are Perez, with Gene Day inks. Really stunning stuff. But then Wilson does really like the back 30% of 2-in-1. He did a lot of it, and then he did almost all of the Thing.
Yeah, that's fun stuff too. It's gonzo. It's crazy, but that's a lot. That's a fun series. I don't have all of it, but what I have, I love. I think it's great. His artwork's really good.
Yeah, I've almost pulled the trigger on that omnibus a couple times because it's all in one volume. And I'm a big fan of Byrne's FF, and that's just a continuation of his FF because he wrote it, most of it. He's the one that said, "Let's put him on an alien planet." And I think he's the one that had him wrestle first, or maybe Grunwald was. I don't know, but that's a good run, and it's a very good sister book to 2-in-1. Like if you want to do a solo thing, definitely read all of 2-in-1 and then read the Thing, and you will not be unhappy. I mean, there's some rough 2-in-1s in the beginning.
Yeah.
But once it finds its feet, the second half of that run is amazing. So.
What a splash page here, though.
Yeah,
oh man.
Oh no, it's I feel like it's more a classic Marvel one in the Marvel house style, and I think I'm saying that because I've read so many Sal comics, and I think of him as being Sal is definitely Marvel house style.
Yeah.
This is what they want. This is kind of their in their pattern. But it's called Mother of the Badoon, and it's another 4-panel. This time it's Doc in the chair, and he's seeing Starhawk, Vance, and Valkyrie, Yondu, the Mama Robot, and the Hulk, and then Nighthawk, Charlie X, and Martin X facing off with some Badoon. 2 of them are green, and the rest are just, there's no detail, and they're all colored poo-poo brown. It's a weird choice of color.
Very, very interesting art team here on this one, though. You know what I mean? Sal's.
Yeah, I was going to ask you to talk about Frank Giacomo and John Tartag.
Oh, John Tartaglione. Yes. Yeah. I mostly know him. I think the first time and most of the time I saw him, he was an inker. I don't know. I don't think it was on Gene Colan maybe, but it was in Daredevil, like Silver Bronze Daredevil. That's where I know that name from.
I think he did some of the Gene. I think he may have done some of the Bob Brown.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Bob Brown is at this era where the banner, because it's Daredevil and Black Widow. So it's in about this timeline where they had the big banner on the cross and then the picture below. So yeah, probably. I knew the name, but I like Frank Giacomo. I think he's I like him more than I like Vince. Al Wenzel will become a penciler. I think that's not who I'm. No, it's something else. I'm not going to remember what he's done, but I think he became a penciler somewhere. It might have been.
I think later on it was David Wenzel that did
that's
pencils for some stuff.
Yeah.
He's a good fantasy artist too. If you look up his name, like he did a little bit in comics, but he did some fantasy art.
He's really good.
Mind blowing.
I was watching.
Oh my god!
It was a video about a hardcover of some old early modern age, late Bronze Age fantasy comics, and was it one of the? It might have been one of the Oz adaptations. He may have drawn one of the later ones or something. Could be. But someone showed the art, and I went, because I hate his Avengers stuff. It's really rough, and he's got Pueblos Marcos inking him, and Pueblos not doing that Wenzel's pencils any justice. I like Romeo Tangel, but I want him on certain people. He really can mess somebody up. He's great with Perez because that's who his inker at Titans was, and it was different than the other inkers he had for Marvel and later for DC. But it didn't look good in others. But this is good. This is nice and solid. Because what I like about Frank Giacomo is he takes the penciler, what the pencilers let on the page, and left it alone, but he does tighten it up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
He doesn't erase stuff. He doesn't wholesale change it. But I think he adds some more detail to the faces and stuff. And in the background people are a little. Once we get to small, bigger panels and you're closer to them, that there's some good detail. And the fight scene we're about to see between the Badoon, Charlie X, and Nighthawk is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great stuff. I love Martin X there as well, zapping the crap out of a bunch of these guys.
Oh yeah, because I like his powers of heat and cold. I think I like him. He in some ways is the other half of Mr. Spock in the Guardians, because Starhawk's kind of the aloof version of Spock, and Martin X is the one who's like, I'm not like you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They give him the different roles. But I like this. Charlie punches some guy, and it was these are some very classic Sal and John Buscema fight scene act. The flying kick, Nighthawk knocking one of these human slaves. Charlie X punching a guy. In other books, you would see that guy coming flying at you. Someone on the internet always posts those famous Sal punches where the guy flies out of the panel. And it's like the same 3 or 4 poses in like hundreds of comics, and everybody who would comment goes, and your point is, yeah, it works. Or the bottom panel on the first page where the 2 guys run into each other because Nighthawk is ducked, and the sound of them hitting heads is clud.
Oh yeah, Charlie punch into one guy above that too. Crunch as he punches a guy. That sounds bad. Oh, God.
Yeah. But it goes on for a couple pages, and finally the Badoon are the zombies. They're called Zoms.
Mm-hmm.
Have captured Nighthawk, and they threaten to kill him. And Doc Strange makes contact.
Gun to his head. Yeah.
Yeah, it's messed up.
Creepy.
And then
it is.
Then we get a little bit about Starhawk, and he goes, "Oh, by the way, if you'd have just turned around." There's a city right
Yeah,
'Cause
Doc's still strapped into the chair with all the wires connected to him to the ship, and then it says contact, and this is where he makes contact, and he can he's kind of like looking down on Starhawk and Vance and Val on that crazy Badoon planet there.
Yeah, but he's just observing him. So we're seeing what the Doc is seeing, and they go for a walk that lasts 2 panels. So they went about 4 sets. Sark pulled back some reeds, and there's this giant, great Sal Buscema future city.
Venezia, yeah, looks great.
City of the Badoon, a sister of the Badoon, and they go on down there, and it's all the same kind of creatures, but they can talk and they're wearing clothes.
They're not savage.
Yeah, they're not savage. The Badoon are about to kill Steven, but the Badoons, it's like, it's flagrant lies. No human brain could admit a probe of such intensity, least of all the brain of a pink-skinned corpse. And Nighthawk's freaking out. They think Strange is dead, but then his astral form is outside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't realize what's going on. Although I like that panel with Nighthawk screaming, "Corpse! No, it can't be. You're trying to trick us." The guy in the background almost looks like a little Professor Xavier there with that blaster.
Yeah, the zombies. It really is like the in the second Dalek story in Doctor Who, you find out the Daleks have conquered Earth in the future, and they take humans and they implant things around their heads, and it turns them into zombie robots. Doctor Strange flies off. We cut to the planet of Guzat, and they're putting robot armor on Hulk, and they're sending him and the Hulk onto a game show. I was thinking gladiatorial games.
Well, I was wondering too, when did I can't think of the name of the movie with Richard Dawson as a game
Running
show host.
Man. That would have been late 80s, because that's a Richard Bachman book. It's one of the books that Stephen King wrote.
I was going to say, when did that book come out, though?
In the late 70s, early 80s. Yeah.
Okay, I was wondering.
Yeah, they're doing a remake of it. I watched it the other day. Have you ever just flipped on something? You're alone in the house. You get to watch whatever you want. You flip, and you just see some random movie, and you sit and watch it. It was on the full move. That movie was on YouTube. I clicked it. And I sat there for 2.5 hours and watched it because there were commercials, and I paused to, walk the dog and stuff. But my wife was, "How was it?" I said, "It held up. It was dumb as shit, and I had a good time watching it."
Yeah, I didn't realize that the King book was 1982. So Gerber, maybe he inspired King.
I don't know. I would, but it is really just, it's a panel show of really wasted people. The game show host is, got a giant bow tie, and it's Super Death Sweepstakes. Meet Mr. Green and Mr. Blue.
Yeah, it's great.
And what gets me is in my household, folks, and if you listen to enough of me on a podcast, I fucking hate reality television. It's the modern Coliseum, and I mean in the Roman one where you cast people into it, and it's awful. It just shows you the worst. I'm not talking talent shows and stuff like that, or cooking training stuff like that, or stuff. But Big Brother and stuff like this. Some of them are horrible, and this is very prophetic. In a lot of ways, that there's a lot of stuff on TV sometimes that's just supposed to make you zone out and not care about going behind your back. And this is TV. We've been saying, I love TV, but some of it is absolute drivel. And this is great because they're all drunk, they're wasted, and they're living on this stuff.
And the guy with the bow tie here is hilarious. He's like kind of a pastiche of game show hosts and bad comedians. He says, "Good evening, ladies and germs, and welcome once again to the game where one wrong move can be your last." It's like, oh God.
Oh my God. It's so weird. It's just, and sometimes, I'll say this, comics in the 70s and 80s had to be drawn very quick. You had to draw a comic a month. Some people could draw 3 comics a month. A modern comic artist would be like, "Shit, I do a page a week." I was like, how do you make a living? You know, probably more pay a living. But so sometimes they have to draw these. So this panel of the game show where you see the people behind the counter, you see the cameras. It's just normal technology, like normal. You know, they don't try to make it space cameras or anything. But it's really simple. It's really basic. But you get this whole idea of the tackiness of it in one panel.
And gambling is a big part of it too. People gambling on who's going to win or die.
Like you said, the Coliseum, and they now watch as our super totalizer flashes Mr. Blue away to a soundproof room nearby, and he's sent where he has to battle robots that are jousting with lances on them. Is that what a thing at the front? What is the thing a knight carries? Is that a lance?
A lance, yeah.
Okay, so they got lances, and they give him a mace. But it's another great Sal fight scene. And this art is really good. I think it's really good.
Oh, it's great. And I think one of the game show hosts they're trying to lampoon here, too, is Monty Hall, which was the Let's Make a Deal guy. Because the guy's name is Monty. Montee.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yes, he is Monty. Again. Oh, my goodness. I remember Monty Hall.
Oh, yeah. Let's make a deal.
Oh, yeah. But he also looks like Bob's Big Boy in the face. Doesn't he look like the Bob Big Boy statue?
He does a little bit, especially later on. His face is drawn a little chubbier. Maybe it was one of the different inkers, because there was two of them on this book, especially on page like 22 there. His face is like a little chubbier.
Yeah, that's the one I'm looking at. Is that the one where Yondu's taking the chain to snap off the robot's head?
Yep.
And then he's returned. Then we get to know, we're cut back to where Starhawk, Vance, and Valkyrie are, and we get a history of the Bandoon race, which is very cool. This is about the time where they're doing this. Is Gerber really creates the Bandoon, even though he didn't create these characters. Roy created them, but he's the one that's filling in the blanks. It's very much. This is the same time Engelhardt is giving us the origin of the Kree-Skrull War.
Yeah,
almost simultaneously.
Yeah, in the Bronze Age here, this is where like a lot of the things you see now in even in the cinematic universe.
A lot of the
these
cosmic
things, like you're saying now.
A lot of the cosmic universe is Roy and Steve Gerber, Conway doing some. Who wrote
Engelhardt,
Who wrote this Guardians of the Galaxies that Random presents? That's not Gerber, is it?
I'm pretty sure it was him and Gene Colan did some of the artwork there. Yeah, I think.
Okay, that's cool. I liked it. I'm a big fan. I'm a huge fan of the I've read the Annihilation stuff, so I've really started. I'm gonna go read some of that era Guardians because I'm enjoying that. But
that stuff's great.
Yeah, and I read the Valentino stuff, which I really love.
Yeah.
So that was like, hey, we don't want to stop drawing Bronze Age comics, so we're just gonna keep doing it in this little corner.
And just so. No, to cover our to CYA here, so nobody sends you hate mail. The Badoon were created by Stan Lee and John Buscema in Silver Surfer #2.
Yes, I forgot about that. Yeah.
I don't want anybody to punch in the balls and be like, no, jerk.
I take that back. Sal, that is, I love that run of Silver Surfer. I think that's one of those near perfect Bronze Age.
Well, I have they reprinted almost the entire series in, what's it called? Marvel Fantasy Masterpieces or some crazy title they had. And I have a bunch of those, and then I have the Essential as well.
Yeah.
That covers the whole run.
If they ever put that omnibus out again, or the Epic out again, because that's all one thing. The first Epic is all the that, and the second Epic is just that his first solo series, something like that. Because that's how much, it fits perfect. But yeah, they're great characters, and I read Killraven. All this Marvel is really doing some good stuff. All this stuff's being built, and then there's Thanos is going to pop up in Iron Man, and then Captain Marvel, and everything that you got, folks, you see in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie and the cosmic aspects of the Marvel universe and the MCU is here. A lot of the beginnings are with these characters. The modern Guardians was just a way of bringing the Guardians into having a Guardians team in the 20th century.
Yeah, and then this, I like the way this ends too. This is really cool. So like Starhawk, he goes bananas here, and like basically like sprouts these kind of wings here, and the two of them, Vance and Val and him, are all talking to this Badoon Queen, and then we see Steven right out in space, kind of figuring things out, and he goes, fascinating, a human who voyages unaided through space in physical form. This is the Doc looking at our buddy here, Starhawk, but then the Queen. And I'm assuming the Doc here, they kind of transport Vance and Val back to where the Badoon are, and they're about to kill three heroes here, right?
Yeah, it's great. And it's also very similar to that team up. Remember the Marvel team up, Marvel 2-in-1, where Cap and Thing go to the future with the Guardians? Don't they end up tied to a wall?
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
The firing squad.
Yeah. But it's good. I like it. And I like the Badoon sisterhood that they're, they were captured, or the men came to this. The women have always been in bondage, and the men only use them and come back. But what they didn't know is secretly they had built a whole city, because no one ever pulled those reeds back like Starhawk did, and ever noticed. But they just come there to breed. But it's a great ending to the book, and it's kind of weird to have a final page of a comic. I've been reading a lot of the most recent X-Men, and I do recommend people, if you like the X-Men, check them out. They're actually pretty good. Gail Simone's writing an X-Men book. It's good, and I'm not the biggest fan of McKay, but I am enjoying. I do like some of the art and stuff. It's been enjoyable. I don't know how long I'll stay in, but I don't these final pages that have like multiple panels. And then the cliffhanger is only like a third of the page.
Yeah.
So it's nice. I like it. And I will say I think the art in this is. I thought Vinnie was good on the previous issue, but this art's just a little better. It's a more polished and tight.
Totally agree.
All right, so let's move to the last part of this. I guess it'd really be a 6-parter because the giant size is a double. Hold on 1 second so I can get the date. Come on, computer. Change the page. This has got a great cover, and I'm assuming it's all, I'm going to guess before I look at the screen, it's all Romita.
It's interesting. On Grand Comics Database here, it doesn't actually list. They actually act like they don't know who definitively did this cover. It says Ron Wilson, ? John Romita, ? Inks, Frank Giacoya, ? John Romita, ? So it's like they have no clue, except they think, of course, Romita did some faces here, which I wouldn't be shocked.
This is my
Val
take.
looks like she has Romita face.
This is my take. The heroes are all Romita, and the Badoon in the background is Wilson. Because I think
could be. Yeah.
I think the Badoon leader looks like Ron Wilson. And the guys in the
it doesn't look like Romita.
And but the faces, but the Hulk, Valkyrie, and Nighthawk are 100% Romita. You know what I mean?
Even the Doc looks Romita to me.
Yeah, that's a Romita face. But it's a great cover. So they've got rid of the banner now, and it's just the title. But I do like this cover. Oh, cover about it. And this was a great lineup. But the lineup's about to change soon. During the Headman story, the lineup changes. And by the end of all that, you end up with a different foursome. We end up with a fivesome what's a quintet? A quintet when Red Guardian joins. I love that. I love that character.
The female Red Guardian. Yeah, she's cool.
I think when I get to that, I'm probably gonna just lament them just ruining her, never bringing her back. Because when I read those and got and finally was able to get enough Old Avengers, and I read his origin story, which I love, which I'm just up in my reread, and I bought a Silver Age Red Guardian action figure because they put one out of the Don Heck. Oh no, that's a John Buscema. Jesus, I'm gonna rob John Buscema more credit. Oh man, my brother would hit me. But it's a good character. But but I like this lineup. This is the last. We're at like 50-50 Gerber right now. You know what I mean? We're about to go full Gerber.
Oh yeah.
And this is a great ending for it. I love it. I like that the bad guy's screaming, "Earthlings, useless! Unless you surrender, instantly surrender, your planet dies. This is it. The final battle between the dynamic defenders and the baneful Badoon. They had run out of B alliterations. Baneful Badoon, not the best. I
love the way I forgot to mention this too. I love how the Badoon are drawn. By the way, with it almost looks like we as human beings, our spine is on our back. They almost look like they have a spine up the middle of front
they
of
have
their
ridges
body.
on both.
It's kind of gross.
It's like they've got a double. They've probably got this super hard. Imagine if we didn't have a ridged cage and we just had because your back ribs they're more ribs in the back, and they're tighter.
Really gross looking.
They're really it's neat. It's good. They're great. They're a great villain, and they lend themselves to be hunched over in evil. Which is in theater was a way of presenting evil too, like I'm gonna get you, but it also comes from some anti-Semitism I found out in college. It was like, oh really?
Oh boy.
Oh, Shylock, I get you.
Not great.
Not great. Yeah, but that's what you really it's the Wicked Witch and all that. But this is great. We're pick up right where we left off. The Badoon are about to kill Nightwing, Martin X, and Charlie 27, and Vance and Valkyrie land there. And this is Let Go of My Planet. I love that. I love that font. I don't know what font that is, but that title's good. So This was published on August 19th, 1975. Cover date November 1975. Same lineups for both teams.
Although I will say about the font, the T's and the Y's almost look like a dog. But I'm just moving on.
Yeah. The what looks like a dog?
The T's and the Y's, the fonts, they almost look like a dog.
Yeah, they do. Never mind.
I don't know if they're having a little fun there. Maybe the letterer was having a little fun there.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I'm looking at them like, I think they did that to be funny.
Yeah, I think they did. Oh my God. So
you can't unsee it. What just
now I'm like looking at it, but so's the exclamation point.
Yeah, it's like, what is going on?
So the credits for this book are Steve Gerber, writer, Sal Buscema, penciler, inks Vinnie Colletta, we'll talk about that again, John Costanza letter, Glennis Wine colorist, Marv Wolfman editor. I forgot Marv.
Yeah, this is a merry-go-round of editors.
Yeah,
in the
Marv, Len, Archie, Jerry.
Yep. Some of them only lasted like a couple of months.
Well, it's a shitty job. I wouldn't want it.
Nobody wanted that job.
Yeah. I love this splash page. I think it's a lot of fun. But I have my problem with the book, a little bit with the art, is when we turn the next panel, and it is very typical Vinnie inks on this. It's a little less. It's fine. It's okay. I think he didn't mess with Stan's art as much as he did, say, Jack's or other people's. Because I just don't think he did. Because I think his own art style is similar to Stan's. I like I like Vinnie pencils, because when Vinnie inks Al Milgrom, he doesn't do this.
Well, you know what's interesting, and again, I don't know, you know how it is. Like these databases, I feel like they always try to do the best they can with what information's available, and sometimes when the information isn't available, there are people that have a fantastic eye for pencilers and inkers.
Yeah.
I can recognize some, but I'm not fantastic. But the Grand Comics database shows penciler Sal Buscema and inker Vinnie Colletta, but it also notes, it says Sal Buscema breakdowns, Vinnie Colletta finished art, as if, you know, he kind of just got a skeleton.
No. No, he's mimicking. He's probably the shape of the bodies was laid down by Sal, maybe some of the faces, but I see what you mean, because the layout is all Stan. The poses are Stan, but if you look like on page, I guess it's 4, where Martinique is freezing the Badoons, that Martinique does not look like Sal. It's a Sal pose, but that doesn't look like Sal drew him.
No. Even Doctor Strange on page 6 there, it's his... You can tell it doesn't look like if it was wholesale Sal, or like we said about, you know, John Tartaglione and Frank Giacoia earlier. It doesn't look like that.
Yeah, it. I will say this: I like it still. I don't think.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's not bad,
it's not bad at all.
It's like Sal light, and when you're the Charlie on the top of the page, where the page I mentioned with Martin. It's
Frozen Badoon.
Yeah, the Frozen Bazoon. If that upper top panel, I'm sorry, that ain't Sal's Charlie 27. That face is
No, that's not great.
Yeah, but he gets Valkyrie right most of the time.
Yeah, Val. Yeah, that same page. That looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Val, that close up on Val's face there on that same page. That looks really, really good.
And you know what? Maybe Sal goes, I want this to be good, so I want her face. I'm going to put the details on the emotional beats. But we cut. So they're rescued because Vance shoots an I-beam, smashing all the guns. Val cuts everybody out of their bonds. Martinix freezes them, and then they escape. But then we cut to Doc. He's back at the planet of Guzat, and it's Mr. Green's turn to go fight. And him and a beautiful girl that would be like the woman who spins the wheel. Oh, she's it's a former wife.
And she's all hot for Hulk, by the way.
Oh, that's right. She's all hyped for Hulk. So the king has given her to Mr. Green, and they're teleported to an icy planet. This is very.
And she's
Sal.
half naked, by the way. So
yeah.
God bless her.
I can see in this to where the Hulk is. Sal has put detail in the Hulk, and Vinny.
Yeah, you can see his face. The close-ups look really good.
Yeah. And the girl, like, depending on what panel she's in, like on the top panel, Sal maybe. Bottom panel, that's Vinny. Last panel, that's Vinny. That's not bad, but Vinny's a good artist. If I've seen some of Vinny's 50s pencils when he was he was just a guy that you paid to knock out inking jobs.
Yeah.
To meet a deadline. We talk about it. These are guys. Sal was probably drawing he was probably drawing 2 comics a month. As one is a fill-in guy, and then he was not given runs. The comics he was given to be main run on are Defenders, Team Up, and then when him and Conway did Web of, was that before he did
Spider-Man.
Rom and Hulk? I think it was Rom, and then it was Hulk, and then it was Web of Spider-Man. He moved up. His Hulk was him and Mantlow's run of Hulk is well respected. It's a really good run, and he invented a bunch of characters. Those are where you find Sal's characters: the UFOs, Sabra, the Jewish hero.
Spectacular Spider-Man too. He did some good stuff there.
Oh, he did that for a long time too, didn't
he? Yeah, and he penciled and inked that. I think, if I'm not
he penciled and inked in Rom until. He went almost 30 issues inking himself, and then they gave him Sinnott, and then Aiken and Garvey, which was
they were
weird mix
for a long time.
That Aiken and Garvey ink, and Danny Bulandini inked him some too, and that's all real good. And then Ditko, because I got the third one. But Sal, when he was on a book. And he inks a shit ton of Conan for his brother.
Yeah.
I like him as an inker.
He was a busy guy.
Oh, he inked Barry Windsor Smith. Barry Windsor Smith used to have him come and ink him, and I think maybe some Conan too. It's really pretty. But I like this Hulk because this is the Hulk. Because my favorite run of Hulk is Mantlo Buscema.
And then you have Mignola come in there too.
Huh?
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Mike Mignola came in there, I think, for a little bit.
Oh,
good stuff.
Because I think Sal inked the Mignola. I wouldn't be surprised or the other, but yeah, that's a good run. I'm starting to read Hulk from beginning to end, but I'm still only. I bought the first 2 omnibuses, so I'm really enjoying it way more than I thought I was. For Silver Age, I'm not a big Silver Age. Marvel doesn't always hit me right, but they're perfect in the Bronze Age. But some of those stuff in Tales of Astonish, it's really good.
Yeah,
it's real. I'm like, oh, this is all the stuff I read. These guys had read this, and now doing their. Now I know why. Okay, really enjoying it. I'm going to read some today. I pulled it out and read the next 4 or 5 issues because I'm enjoying it. But so back to Hulk is in his robot costume, and they are left in a snowfield, and the girl is attacked by patented Sal Buscema robot ants, and they're awesome looking.
They look great. It reminds me of that Justice League cartoon from like the turn of the century. There, they had
the alien that morphed and it was on the Butte.
Yeah,
I just did a rewatch of that in Justice League. They were the bad guys in the beginning of Justice League, and then they came back in Justice League United.
Mm-hmm. That's what they reminded me of.
It's oh my God! I would not be surprised the people who drew this had read a bunch of Sal comics, because that's a very this is great, and it's him. He's trying to save the girl, and he's beating up the robot ants. Then we cut to Starhawk flying to his cabin in the woods that is floating under a dome on an asteroid in deepest, darkest space, and he's met by his kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great.
And he looks up a picture of his wife on the screen. This is, folks, if you've never read it, it's on the app. All the Marvel Comics Presents and Marvel Spotlight, was it? This is a backdoor pilot for a Guardians series, which they get, but it's just in other comics, and it is really, really good. You will get your first taste of Al Milgrom cosmic art at some point. He does some of it. It's really good. I might go peek at it today while I'm sitting out on my balcony having a cup of tea next to we have a fully inflated Buddy the Elf. My wife wanted we had a sale at Target, so we can't have a Christmas tree in our house because we have a blind dog, a stupid dog, a lazy cat, and a vandal cat, and shit would get busted. So we've never had a Christmas tree. So we decided to light up our balcony, and it's Buddy squeeing with excitement. So I will sit out there and read 70s Guardians of the Galaxy. But we get to know a little bit about Starhawk, and this is a big deal because he's being introduced here to insert him in the team for the next book, I think. I haven't done any homework, but it just feels like it because that series starts right on the tail end of this. You've read that, right? That's in that trade you sent me.
Yeah.
That's in that. You sent me the Epic. Well, it's now an Epic. It's been reprinted as an Epic. It wasn't an Epic then.
No, yeah.
I need to get the second.
It's a trade full of stuff. It's great.
Yeah. I need to get the next one. Oh, I think this stuff's in it too. So I need to get the next Omni, and then
I think it is.
I thought about doing a Guardians reread at some point, but once I get a breaking point on FF, I'm going to add them to it because I'm about to run out of omnibuses for FF. So, so we get to see that there's something going on. There's a mystery here, and there's something more to Starhawk because he's doing a sad Marvel hero pose at the bottom of one page. But it's nice to see a superhero with kids.
Yeah, it's cool. What does he say? It is not yet my time. The stars beckon, and I have no choice but to journey. I guess they kind of want him to settle down, and he's like, no, I got stuff to do out here.
I can't. And your dynamic with me and your mom's going to get more fucked up, and then you're going to die.
Yeah, he's tragic.
Yeah, he does. He gets tragic. I do like how they make him less tragic when Valentino goes, I'm done with the tragic. Let's just stop. Let's make them both.
Make him a superhero.
Let's just make them both superheroes and put them both on the team and give her a cool costume. Then we watched the new Underground on Earth, consisting of Vance Astrovec, Valkyrie, Nighthawk, Martin X, and Charlie X. Martin X and Charlie 27. And they are great, you can definitely see what Sal laid out in the banner, but he did the charge. This has to look like a Sal charge. But it's really good. I like all the art. It just looks a little rushed at times. There's a lot going on. And then the two battles go to the next page. Half the page is the people on Earth, and the other half is Hulk and the pretty girl fighting the ants in the snow. They try to get away, but there's a force field, and then the happy big... He looks a little like Arcade in that panel.
He does, yeah.
And that just makes Hulk matter, and he just hits the ground so hard that it destroys all the ants and crushes this mountain. and they're teleported back. It's a historic moment here on the SCO, folks. This is a game show host. Not one, not two, but three survivors on the same edition of one game. Are you all right, my friend? Hulk feels swell.
With a really pissed off look on his face.
Yeah. But Hulk is going to make Fat Face feel very bad. You forgot to put Mr. Green in thrall. Fat Face won't forget again. Fat Face won't have head to forget with. And he's about to... you notice that Yondu is not trying to stop him.
No, not at all.
No, he's like, I'm going to go beat the
guy.
Robots up. You can punch his head off. I don't give a shit. I'm out of here. And
they disappear.
They disappear, and Hulk's punch ultimately ends up punching a Badoon. And then and then we cut to Jack Norris. He's freed from whatever Steven did to him.
His hex wore off.
Yeah, his hex wore off. He wakes up the Doc. Doc's back in his body.
He thinks he's dead.
He thinks he's dead. This is so unreal. To me, your costume, your power, vendors. But I think now that you've kept this team a secret mostly. Yeah, and he's live. He goes, please, Mr. Norris, not to shout until I readjusted to my physical senses. It does require a moment or two. I caught part of what you said. I'd like to hear more when I return to Earth. Is Barbara down there? Tell me. Yes, she is. Norris is like, then I want you to take me with you and let me help. I'm convinced, Doc, that the Guardians are doing all of it. It's my plan. I've got to write. And this is Doc going, I'm frankly skeptical of the sudden conversion, Mr. Norris. Perhaps we'll put it to the test. Yeah, it's not really responsible, Steven. He's an idiot.
No.
And he's a fucking stalker.
Well, I will say, too, on page 18 there, that third panel, or, the first panel 1 at the very bottom there, I don't know how it is, how you're looking at it, but in the actual comic, there was a coloring gaffe here. They painted Steven's legs stark white. It's like there's no colors.
When he's standing up just after getting out of the chair?
Uh-huh. Yeah, it looks like he's wearing a skirt, and he has, like, Silver Surfer legs.
No, he's wearing his pantyhose. He's wearing his blue tights. It's like someone at work, we're talking about dress code, and we don't even have casual Friday jeans on Friday. We work in a call center, and my agent's, why can't we wear jeans? It's like, you work for a fucking nurse. When you're in an office setting, you wear office clothes. And we have a call center that is manned by nurses, and they're allowed to wear scrubs. And they can wear scrubs, but they're nurses, and we're like, they sit in a call center. And one of my agents goes, well, you think it's fair? I'm like, no, but you guys can wear leggings, and that's more comfortable than, men's slacks. You could be one of the other men to be walking around in leggings, and the girl, like I said, looked at me kind of weird, and I went, yeah, you don't.
Thanks, right?
Yeah, you don't. Okay? I had to wear tights at a play one time. My little tunic would ride up. But yeah, it does. I know what you mean. I love it when I catch a coloring mistake. But sometimes, what I will say in the Marvel app, and I think DC does it too, some of these older comics, they color it in the 4-color. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to do it. You match what you see, correct what is wrong. That's great. Have you ever seen on the line where they, for the Absolute and some of the color reprints on nice paper of stuff up into even in the 4-color, they recolored the Alan Moore Swamp Thing with Veet in them. I sometimes don't mind it. You know what I mean? But what they did was, you should put that on a banner. This has been recolored. Modern coloring. It's like remastering. Like when I watch Star Trek, we're gonna want you having me watch this Star Trek, one of my favorites. I will watch it with the new special effects because I like them. Sometimes I will. Doctor Who does new special effects. Sometimes some of them. When I watch it new. But some stories I go, no, that was you did it. I just think sometimes it's wrong. But I like that we're seeing this in the true what we would see. Lots of blues. Backgrounds are solids. You don't have a lot of earth tones. If it's brown, it's brownish. You know what I mean? It's either yellow, blue and yellow. You know what I mean? They mix it. They have to mix things. That's why you don't see a lot of people with certain colored clothes and stuff. But this is a good sequence of battles because he gives Jack Norris a blaster. What the hell?
He's got like a bazooka.
It's got a bazooka. It's
like, oh my God.
They're all looking at him, and Steven's going,
Doc,
it's a super soaker. Just shut up. I told him it was magic elixir. But, so so they arrive, and
it's just like a giant fracas here. And
it is, and then Steven just he arms all the people.
Mm-hmm.
He frees all the people. He gives everybody weapons, and they start killing everybody.
The Badoons look really weird too, by the way, on that one page.
What?
Like it's very bizarre. Like their head and face. What page is that here?
They are the page. When he's lifting the wire, when the gates come off the fire, the humans, the survivors, when he's letting them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be in rags. It's like starvation, death kits. But the battle goes on, and basically Jack and Doc are standing on the top of this building, watching people the Badoon get slaughtered.
Yeah. Get zapped, and he's going nuts with his bazooka, and he's blasting some of them, and then then they're on the top of the building, just like, oh look, there's a an insurrection going on here, isn't it great? And then Starhawk shows up.
Yeah, what I also like, but they do talk about it. Doc Strange goes, "We'll rejoin the others shortly, Jack. I needed a moment here first. What did we do? What did Doc? Because he's asking him. I need to convince myself of the necessity of what I've done. Even though I'm not sure my contribution wasn't a necessity, you could have zapped the Badoon off the face of Earth all by yourself, couldn't you? It would have rendered all those years of enslavement meaningless even if it were in my power." And I like this because of this conversation, because then you get the Mr. Spocky thing with Starhawk. Perceptive, Dr. Strange. Freedom must be earned to be valued. Yeah, I'm not all for killing people, but yeah, if someone's held you in, it starved you to death, held you in slavery, I might turn my back for a month, 2, or a decade. Yeah. But I like that they talk about it. I mean, Gerber's very lefty. His politics might be a little beyond my lefty, but he puts them in there, and these are questions to be asked. I kind of like that that's in there, because this is just a fun little comic. But you just, because I think him freeing them all in one is pretty much Deus Ex Machina and lazy. Well, okay, we got to free all the slaves and get rid of the Badoon.
Some really crazy interactions here, though, between the Doc and Starhawk. I like it.
Yeah, there's all this thing. You and your defenders have done all you can. Here you must return to your own era. Because he's got some prophetic. I am one who knows. Tell him, Jack Norris. Doc, I haven't been right much. These new experiences bombard, but I recognize something in this guy. Something of me and Barbara. I know it sounds crazy, but he's like all of us and none of us. I think he's right. Well, that's vague enough. I like the Starhawk thing. I like when if you read further in there's knew more about Starhawk. You'll meet a character called Alita, who appeared on the screen when he was at his home, and it really shapes what makes, because they tried out the Guardians of the Galaxy in that one shot, which is a great comic. It was the first comic I ever covered on the podcast. But it's these later team ups and in Marvel 2 and 1, and now in this, and then in Avengers. Well, between this and that, their story continues and ends. A storyline ends up having to be ended in Avengers, and then they get their own book in the early 90s with Jim Valentino, who will go on to be one of the founders of Image. But this is the last piece. He's the last piece of the puzzle that makes this team work for its own book.
I like these crazy. What about these crazy panels on the next to last page there? It looks like Steve Ditko here almost on those two panels where the Doc's gesturing and all these crazy things. That's weird.
I think that's Vinnie. I think that's more Vinnie.
Yeah, because that doesn't look Sal to me at all. But he makes everybody just go to sleep. All the Badoon, he puts them to sleep, so there's no more bloodshed. He says.
Yeah. But now you got a bunch of sleeping Badoon. Who's going to take care of him? Change the diaper. Well, let's get out of here before we have to help out with the heavy lifting. And then he takes them all back in time.
Red underpants. They just go back then.
I like it. There's just Nighthawk going, has that cloak of yours levitated your mind away? Seems like we went through an awful lot to accomplish half a mission. Why? I cannot answer in a manner that you would understand, Kyle. Except you ask Mr. Norris. Ask Hubby. I like it that none of them have any respect for Jack. I know you don't think much of me, Nighthawk. I know Barbara doesn't think of me at all. But Doc and I both saw something in Stark. For me, it was the ultimate fusion, creativity, destruction, passion, logic, whatever it was, something Earth will finally want in a millennium from now. Finis. I liked it. So these the Giants. Let's look at these three. I think these three were great, and I don't even mind the art across the board. I enjoyed it, and it was fun to try to figure out who did what. But I think I think Vinnie does a good job on this last issue. I think he does a great job on that first issue. And I think the art in the middle is chef kiss good. It's some of the best. If you give Sal high quality inking and don't rush him, the only thing better than his stuff inked by good inkers is him inked by himself. But this is a great story. My biggest problem is the giant size. Because the art is really rough.
Yeah, that's probably the weakest link.
It is, and it really doesn't fit in with the next 4 parts. But you have to read it. It is chapter 1 of this story, but it is visually not as engaging and not as fun.
No, not at all.
Because there is a level of, Sal doesn't make it look too, he's not going to be Neil. He's not going to be John. You know what I mean? He's not going to be Neil and he's not going to be John. He has a cartoony style. Which I think there are certain artists that I love them for that cartoony style. Stegman, who's drawing adjectiveless X-Men right now for Jed McKay, has a very cartoony style, and it's not something I've ever seen in X-Men, and it is incredibly appropriate for that. It has a funness that Sal has, because the people look just a little bit off. There's a little bit of that joy. I like it. Dave Gibbons has that. I think Dave Gibbons, though he draws people in a very action, he has a little cartoony style. Ron Friends, who's basically ripping on Sal, does it. Other people do, but I like this art. This is such a great era of Defenders, and the next one begins the Headman arc, which
oh boy,
that's going to be big chunks. That's going to be different parts, and we're going to see. Oh my goodness, and. So, oh my goodness! In the next issue, Sal takes a break, and the art is very weird. Sam Granger with Jack Abel inks. Jack Abel should not be allowed to ink anybody, ever.
Yeah, he's a very heavy-handed inker.
Yeah, and the fact that he erases everything, I don't know. He bugs me when I see his name. But I think the story is fun. But I mean, When did you first start reading the Defenders? Did you start at the beginning, or I don't remember if we talked about this, and if it is what your answer was.
I think if I remember correctly, as far as Defenders is concerned, that was something like I was a Doctor Strange reader first, and then, he's in the Defenders too, and then I went and grabbed some of their stuff. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, the first Defenders I ever read probably was in the era of maybe either David Anthony Kraft or even the guy that came after him too. I can't think of who it was.
Law Officer or whatever.
Oh, who the heck was writing Defenders in the 70, 80 numbered issues in there? J.M. DeMatteis.
J.M. DeMatteis.
Yep.
Oh,
yep. That's probably the first stuff I read, and then worked my way backwards.
Oh, Ed Hannigan wrote some of it too.
A little bit there, yeah. Yeah, when that Joker-looking character was around, what the heck was that guy's name?
Oh no,
He was not great.
Oh yeah. That book had some up and down. I read it religiously. And I love like later characters like Gargoyle and.
There's a Gargoyle 4-issue limited series that's really good. If
Oh,
anybody
is
can
that the one
find
by
it.
Matt Back? Was it Matt Wagner or somebody?
Gosh, who did write that? I know the one issue has a Wrightson cover. It's really good. It's only 4 issues, but it really gets that character perfectly.
Oh, here
It's
it is.
a good series.
Oh yeah, I love that. It was a great comic, and they should have given him more. He should be in a book. It's Jam It's Jam DeMatteis and Mark Badger from Coyote.
Ah, there you go, Mark Badger. Yeah,
yeah,
good stuff. Really, really good stuff.
They need to bring him back. I really hate that he's not used anymore. I think it's a waste. It's a waste. And he had.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. How many? Let's see. Let me see how many series he's had. He just had the one.
Mm-hmm.
That's sad. But I did like him as a defender. He was a really good defender. All right, Billy. What do you got to plug?
Well, yeah. If anybody wants to find me out there, just go to your podcast app and search for Magazines and Monsters, and you will find a plethora of stuff and shows going on there. That's mostly where my shenanigans are.
That's awesome. I have fun. I'm jumping in and out on your Magazines and Monsters and some of the Zany Haney. I found some old discs that have copies of the Hammer movies. And I think one of my players will still play them. I have not watched them, but I have them in order on these downloads someone gave me one time. So I was thinking about jumping into some of those. And I was going to put them up on the big screen in the living room to show my wife because she likes horror movies. But I don't think she's seen any Hammer films, so I was going to share it. But folks, hey, thank you for listening. There'll be a little pause on Defenders, and because I'm going to figure out how I'm going to break up some, so I will probably be asking Billy to come back, and maybe I'm trying to see if Dave Steele wants to talk some Defenders, because he's a Defenders fan, and get Kirby back, and move on. I'm trying to do at least one episode a week. I'm going to try to get back to 2, but work and holidays now, we will see. But folks, I appreciate you coming. Please be safe, be smart. Please be kind to one another, and read some comics. Read some Sal Buscema comics.